For almost 100 years, there's been this one book that's been quietly creating millionaires in the background. It's Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And it makes a pretty bold claim that there's a single powerful secret to success hidden within its pages. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and unlock it.
Right from the start, Hill throws down this challenge. He says the secret will literally leap off the page and present itself to you, but only if you're ready for it. See, it's not just about reading words, it's about being open to a revelation. So the real question is, are you ready?
All right, so where did this whole thing even come from? Well, it all started when the industrial giant Andrew Carnegie gave a young Napoleon Hill a mission. He challenged him to spend the next 20 years studying the world's most successful people to figure out what they all had in common. The end result was this single philosophy, a formula that helped create over 500 millionaires. And look at the people who used this philosophy. These weren't just business owners, they were absolute titans. We're talking about Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell. Even US presidents like Woodrow Wilson and Theodore Roosevelt. They all knew and applied this one single secret.
Okay, let's get right to the heart of it. The first, and honestly the most critical piece of this entire secret, is what Hill calls desire. And let's be clear, this isn't just kind of wanting something. Hill says that all great achievements, every single fortune ever built, started with an intense, burning desire for something definite.
So this is the key distinction, right? The difference between a simple wish and a burning desire. A wish is passive, it's hopeful. A burning desire is a white-hot obsession. It's a state of mind that flat out refuses to even entertain the idea of failure. And there is no better story to illustrate this than the one about a guy named Edwin C. Barnes.
So Barnes had this one all-consuming goal. He was going to become the business partner of the great inventor Thomas Edison. Now, there were a few problems. He was broke, he had zero connections, and he didn't even know Edison. In fact, when he showed up at Edison's laboratory, Hill says he looked like an ordinary tramp.
But here's the thing. What Barnes possessed was way more valuable than money or a fancy suit. He had that unshakable, burning desire. It wasn't a hope, it wasn't a wish, it was a definite purpose that was practically on fire inside of him. And you gotta appreciate the sheer guts here. Barnes doesn't walk in and ask for a job. No, he announces to Thomas Edison that he is there to go into business with him to become his partner. Now, most people would have been tossed out on the street, but Edison saw something different in him, a mind that was absolutely positively made up. And this quote just sums it all up perfectly. Barnes basically burned his bridges behind him. He said, "There is but one thing in this world that I am determined to have, and that is a business association with Thomas A. Edison. It was do or die, win or perish. That is the very soul of a burning desire." Okay, so you've got the desire, it's burning hot. Now what? How do you actually make it real? This is where Hill gets super practical. He lays out a concrete 6-step blueprint for taking that intangible fire and turning it into actual physical gold.
This right here is the engine room. Step 1, be specific. Not, I want a lot of money, but the exact amount. 2, decide what you'll give in return, because there's no such thing as something for nothing. 3, set a deadline, a definite date. 4, create a plan, and, this is key, start immediately, whether you feel ready or not. 5, write it all down. This makes it real. It takes it from a dream into a project. And finally, number 6, and this is maybe the most important part, read that statement out loud twice a day. This is what Hill calls autosuggestion. You're literally programming your subconscious mind to act, to see and feel yourself already having what you want.
Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds a little simple. But guess what? This exact process is how the U.S. Steel Corporation, the world's first billion-dollar corporation, was born. Charles Schwab came up with an idea, turned it into a definite plan, and pitched it to J.P. Morgan. That idea, backed by that plan, was worth a fortune.
So, here's a reality check. Every great plan is going to hit roadblocks. Temporary defeat is pretty much guaranteed. And the one thing that separates the winners from the losers, more often than not, is one single quality: persistence. It's the fuel that keeps that burning desire alive when things get tough.
Hill tells this unforgettable story about a guy named R.U. Darby. Back in the gold rush days, Darby and his uncle struck a vein of gold. They were ecstatic. They drilled, and then, suddenly, it just disappeared. The vein was gone. So, completely frustrated, they gave up. They just quit, sold all their machinery to a local junk man for peanuts, and went home.
Well, that junk man was smart. He hired a mining engineer who took one look and said the Darbys had failed because they didn't understand fault lines. The gold was still there, just 3 feet from where they had stopped digging. That junk man made millions. Darby learned the lesson of a lifetime. Never, ever stop 3 feet from gold. He later became a ridiculously successful insurance salesman simply because he refused to take no for an answer.
And you see this raw power everywhere. Darby once saw this little kid who was sent to collect 50 cents from his uncle at the mill. His uncle yelled at her, tried to scare her off, but she just stood there and screamed over and over, "My mammy's gotta have that 50 cents!" And guess what? Her pure, unshakable will won. She got the money. That's persistence.
So we've got desire, a concrete plan, and unstoppable persistence. These are 3 incredibly powerful forces, but they're all being powered by one central generator. The final piece of the secret, the ultimate key, isn't something you have to go out and find. It's the one thing you already have total and complete control over, your own mind.
And this right here, this is it. This is the ultimate secret. The entire philosophy, everything we've talked about, it all comes down to this one simple truth. You can't always control your circumstances, not at all. But you can always control your thoughts. And since every single thing you ever create in your life begins as a thought, mastering your thoughts means you become the master of your own destiny.
And that's the beautiful paradox of it all. The secret, as Hill loves to point out, isn't really a secret. It's a universal law of nature, just sitting there out in the open, available to absolutely anyone who has the guts to actually use it.
So let's put all the pieces together one last time. Every great achievement starts as a simple idea, just a thought. You take that thought and you supercharge it with a burning, obsessive desire. You give that desire a body with a definite, concrete plan. You protect that plan from failure with unshakable persistence. And you steer the entire process by taking control of your own mind. That, my friends, is the philosophy of achievement.
The exact same knowledge that built fortunes for people like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and Andrew Carnegie, it's now yours. This isn't magic. It's a method. It's a method that demands you know exactly what you want and then go after it with a mindset that refuses to accept any other outcome. So the only question left to ask is, what are you going to do with it?